With one of my most anticipated games, Slave Zero X, releasing this month, I want to get ourselves prepped with some 2D hack and slash goodness. And I think ICEY would be great to, well, break the ice. I've heard about this game for a few years now, but just never got around to it. Honestly, I thought it was a PC exclusive, so just never looked into it. But guess how dumb I looked when I found out it's been on console since day one, over 8 years ago. So there you go. Alright, this is Combat Overview. Here we go over the general controls, the main mechanics, who or what we use them on, and then seeing how it all comes together. Got ourselves light attacks with their own combo, and heavy attacks with its own combo. There's different enders depending when you chain into them. From a launcher, a multi-slash that reaches far in front of you, and 1-2 crowd control. Aerial combat is just as important, having light and heavy combos as well. Lights end with the spiral ender, while heavy reuses the grounded combo for the air. And same thing, depending when you chain into the heavy attack, it'll do different enders. One to hit a crowd, and the other to slam an enemy down to bounce them back up. Also, you can jump cancel to reset combos, to jump cancel grounded attacks too. Got ourselves a classic launcher by holding up an attack, sending you and the enemy up. You can cancel into it with these, so don't be afraid to use it, because it can let you continue combos or follow up any airborne enemies. Speaking of which, yeah, juggles are a thing. Enemies do hover in the air a cool bit when you launch them, letting you follow up in time. And if you want to get to the ground faster, just hold down an attack to do a helm splitter, and it can be cancelled into with these as well. So we have our high time, helm splitter, and jump cancels, but there's no delays, no stinger, no projectiles to do some more juggling, and it's just the one weapon. There's some stuff here, but I wouldn't go as far as to say it's 2D DMC. Don't want to give anyone the wrong idea. Onto defenses, we got this dash step, but no iframes. Something you need to get used to. It's not like Super Crush KO, for example. It's great to reposition around hitboxes, but not bypass them. Hey, at least it cancels your attacks on reaction. We do have perfect dodges, and this is the only way you'll get iframes, which is a smaller window than you think. And when you get this, you can follow up with a counter attack. Looking at the HUD, blue meter is health, and we can actually use it for something, because holding out 1 and pressing either light or heavy will toss out a skill. These give full iframes at the cost of some of your health, of course. Some classic stuff there. Also, that spiral attack can only be done on the ground, while the shadow dance one can be done both in the air and on the ground. The yellow bar underneath is armor. It refills on its own if you don't get hit long enough. When you get hit, it'll cut into it, but you'll tank those hits and reduce a bit of damage. But once shattered, then you'll start to get staggered after each and every hit now, which can get you stuck in an infinite if you're not careful. Since your dash has no iframes, yeah, it makes it tricky to maintain your armor and evade enemy attacks. Now as you land more hits, raising the combo count, it'll boost your damage output the higher you can maintain it, which is nice. Also, when an enemy reaches low health, or for each health bar you get rid of on a more threatening enemy, they'll be left open for a glory kill, doing this damaging attack with full iframes. You'll regain health and armor too, so if you think it's worth the risk, can definitely sacrifice a bunch of health, spamming skills to open them up for a glory kill, refilling everything. Not only that, but these little blue energy crystals will be left behind afterwards. By holding your light attack, you can absorb them to do this full screen attack that will launch enemies. You are vulnerable as you charge, so you need to find your moment, but the payout is pretty big. There's a shop to buy and upgrade your attacks. Won't be too harsh to max them out. Level 3 is the highest they all go. And yeah, because late game enemies give out more and more money, so you'll be able to get those pricier stuff in no time. Also, everything in the shop you see at the start is everything you'll see for the entire game. Not a problem because these options are just that fun to mix and match. So the store doesn't expand more than how it is now. When it comes to enemies, there's little shooters. Once their laser disappears, they're fire. These shotguns, you'll see its wide range aim, then hone in before firing away. These little enemies are combo food, so if you can gather them up, you can deal massive damage in style. These two-legged guys who like to dive kick, but if you catch their startup with an uppercut, you can open them up. Then ones with arms attached to them, either wind up this punch or mix in a grab. Pretty simple pattern, land hits until you see a move at all so you can dash through. Honestly, there's not many enemies. In most encounters, you'll fight the same 3, maybe a 4th enemy type. And since most of them are dealt the same way, dashing through them to avoid their attack or just juggle for free, in my opinion, the overall enemy design is pretty simple. But it's fun to press buttons, that's for sure. For bosses, this hammer bot would do crowd control slams. It only reaches the floor around him, obviously, but its hitbox only reaches waist high. So, you can hover in the air around his head, repeating the knockdown ender to stay in this safe spot. He'll mix in some missiles from above, but not much else other than those two attacks. We have this shooter that'll run and fire away straight on. Just dodge through. If they delay their shots, then you want to air dash away because they'll try and mix you up with these tracking shots to catch you standing still. And if you get behind them too early, they'll try to kick you away to escape even earlier. This big robot, it'll do these fixed shots with the same intervals. Should just stay on the sides and look out for the little ready up animation it does before firing. After that, yeah, just stay in the middle long as you want, doing that knockdown ender to keep yourself hovering. The final boss. The limbs hit about halfway above the ground, and their face is the weak spot. You know what that means. Use that same knockdown ender to keep you in that sweet spot to dodge most of their attacks, letting you deal consistent damage. Yeah, just like the regular enemies, bosses have the same approach to all of them too. Either dash left to right or hover in this safe spot. And that's ICEY. Overall, it's pretty straightforward, but I'm glad I finally got around to it. I ended up finishing it the same session I started it, taking about 3 hours. Honestly, I think that's the perfect runtime for this game. You don't unlock more moves and the enemy pool is pretty limited, so it runs the risk of getting repetitive, but it ends at that right spot where you master your options to make some nice combos, and you get enough upgrades along the way to feel powerful near the finale. And since it's short, you can definitely try to find some more hidden secrets and extra endings. Because just like other classic beat 'em ups, there's different routes in this game. You can follow the arrows we've been trained to do, or you can say, "No, I'm good," and go off somewhere else. Sometimes you'll find extra money or little cheeky fourth wall breaking commentary from the narrator. Sometimes you can mess with him by doing the complete opposite of what he tells you. Might get a little scolding from him, but it's kind of worth it.
Jumped again? God, why did you jump down there again? You have zero common sense. Wait, don't panic. There's something I wanted to ask you. Are you messing with me? I told you time.
Not only that, but you'll find... Wait a minute. Where are we? Yeah, this gets pretty meta and likes to mess with you. This game likes to point out the fact we only know how to march on and attack everything on sight. If you want to break out of the mold and go left instead, you just might find some neat stuff. Maybe even a different game.